Hello, my name is Harry, and yesterday I finished painting my first Warhammer miniature. Now, why is that in a video about the struggles of creativity? Well, art itself is intrinsically creative, is it not? Writing this script, analyzing a folder of Dungeons & Dragons content, all of it is intrinsically creative. It was a year and a half ago that my father's coworker graciously visited to mentor me on miniature painting. He's exceptionally talented and his work is very inspiring. We got through the base coats, did a wash, and some edge highlighting before it was time for him to take off. I enjoyed it incredibly much and found it to be therapeutic. Painting miniatures like those you can find on YouTube is something I aspire to achieve. However, the next day when I swore to myself to complete it, I gave it maybe 30 minutes of effort before quitting because it didn't look perfect. The piano is a beautiful instrument capable of incredible feats and is a flourishing introduction to the world of music. When I listen to Bear McCreary's compositions for God of War, I feel deeply inspired and bigger than myself. That power led me to try creating some of my own music. Using Logic Pro X and various professional level VSTs, I tried my best to recreate Time by Hans Zimmer. Might I say I did an astounding job, it just wasn't perfect. I couldn't get the mix right, so I gave up. To come back to the piano, I took a year of lessons making astounding progress that I could just not hear. And following the trend, I quit. Now, I could sit here and recount the countless creative efforts that I have given up on, but I'm not here to depress, rather, I'm here to inform. We live in a world where creativity has become less valuable. Go up to a person and tell them you want to be an actor. 90% of them will laugh at you or tell you that you should have a backup plan or some form of discouragement. I'm not saying that these are bad ideas, rather I'm trying to tell you that the person you've just told that they won't succeed is struggling on the inside. What they desperately wanted to hear from you is that you believe in them and that they will succeed. I need to get this across as best as possible. For creatives, a life of a 9-to-5 desk job is just not acceptable. There is so much of life that will be spent as a career that it is just insane to be complacent doing something mundane or even boring. Obviously, life has responsibilities, but when we get to choose or make decisions towards something, we should take a few risks here and there. For creatives, witnessing your parents doing a seemingly repetitive job to keep you afloat as their child makes you feel deeply guilty. Some people enjoy doing things that a creative-led person would find appalling. To them, nothing is better than relaxing after a workday watching some football, but to us creatives, that seems so harvesting, soul harvesting. To explain this a little more generally, I have attempted to work part-time teenage jobs here and there since I was 14. Refereeing was alright because it was a constant interpretation, use of my senses to bring something into organized coalescence. But working as a checker at a grocery store was absolutely killer. Hearing the beep, dragging the items down, people just flat out ignoring you, talking on the phone in your face, the minutes literally counted by seconds on the POS machine. Knowing that I stood there doing absolutely nothing out of my own volition was eating away at my soul. Going in when the sun was risen, and leaving when it was dark, knowing that when I got home, there was not nearly enough time for me to decompress. So I quit. Just like the other things. But this felt right and good. Time is such a precious thing to a creative person. It takes lots of time to figure out what we need to do, what we are meant to do, and to not make progress in this sense, even daily, can feel as though we are trapped, complacent, and dying. I was not going to die within this job. They can get on without me, and they can make their money without me. There was a video by Matthew Colville on leading a creative life, and it is absolutely revolutionary to me, and maybe to others who can connect to the message of this video. We feel as though we have something within us or something we created that the world should know about, that we have a gift or talent for something that is important and that maybe, just maybe, others will find it interesting. For many of us, it is not about the money. I could care less if I made money off of my YouTube videos. I just want to touch the soul of someone who needs to hear the things I say, or who needs the nostalgia and relaxation of some of my other videos. When you have something that you think others would find interesting, But when you present it to the world and it gets lost, then you feel deeply disturbed, like something has just been taken away from you, a part of your being disposed of. And that is what it is like every day in the period of time we live in. Look at the Greeks. They were full of soul-searching, philosophizing about everything. Acting was revolutionary, and it was viewed as nothing more than the greatest dive into the human experience of emotion and being. There likely was no money involved, and if it was, then it was obviously not the focus. These days, we are shoved through a pipeline meant to unify and concentrate the mass minds of children into the workforce, to prepare us to make money and to be good enough for someone or something. We are told to go to college because it is a must if we want to live a comfortable life, but for creatives, we would choose at any second to make $40,000 doing what we must do, what we are called to do, rather than making $120,000 doing something that destroys our soul. Maybe it is just my experience, but I often feel ridiculed for not having a job or making money. This is no one's fault, and it can be worrying to see your child not appear to have the drive to support himself, but that is not what's happening. Countless studies show that high levels of creativity are linked to high intelligence, and other countless studies show that high levels of intelligence are linked to a vulnerability to mental illness. Before this, let me clarify. I am not claiming to be highly intelligent or a peak creative. I'm not claiming to be affected by mental illness, but every creative has been plagued by an abnormal level of self-doubt. We may think people have an interest in what we do, but it is never good enough for us. So much of our time is spent sorting through these thoughts and deciding which ones are rational and which ones are rather chatter in the skull. Mornings where we don't get out of bed because we feel like our interests have run from us when we woke. When we lack the ability to create or invent, we feel disgusted with ourselves. We feel worthless because what we perceive as our purpose is gone. It's not there. We can't access it. So what is there to do with our day? Ourselves. For a lot of creative people, we find something that we are innately good at and often even impress ourselves, but then we gain this mindset that we should be innately good at everything we pursue, and when we are not, then that does not mean to practice to get better, it means to quit. How do we heal that? Well, that's a topic for another video and maybe a more certified person. I didn't make this video to be depressing or concerning, and I can tell you right now that I personally am doing just fine. I'll get to the place I need to be, to the place where I can do the things that I want in time. I know it, but creatives still struggle every single day wondering what the future will look like, how they will make it to that perfect point where their craft is wondrous and without challenge, that point where we amaze and inspire others without any of the ridicule. Everyone is creative, but people that don't interact much with that side of themselves tend not to understand the depth and importance of these feelings. It's not that they are any lower or anything of the sort, but they just honestly haven't felt these feelings before. Maybe watch this video twice or even thrice and try to understand these emotions and passions, and it may help you connect with someone in your life or even yourself. If you are a creative person who feels these ways, trust me, you will find your path soon, and someday you will be who someone looks up to. Someone who inspires and makes others smile and feel full. You have to hang in there and trust what your body tells you. Make the effort occasionally, but don't bully yourself when it is too difficult. If you liked this video, please do consider subscribing for more things like this. If you didn't, then dislike it, honestly, so I can improve my content. I hope I have helped someone understand themselves today, and I'll see you guys again very soon.